So first of all, I'm creating a function with name example, and inside this I'm going to use if, and I'm passing the condition as true, which means the JavaScript engine will always go inside this if block. So inside this if block, I'm going to create a variable with var keyword, and I'm giving the variable name as a, and inside this I'm passing the value as 10. So now whenever you create a variable using var keyword, it will look for its nearest function. So the nearest function for this var is this example, right? So now this variable will be accessed inside this function. So from here to here, this variable a will always be accessed. So if I try to console.log a, now let me call this example function in order to execute this example. So now if I run this code, as you can see, we are getting the value 10. So if you use let here, and let me run this again. As you can see, we are getting a is not defined because let is block scope, which means this whenever you declare a variable using let, that will look for its nearest block. So the nearest block for this let is this, right? This curly brace from here to here. So now this let, so this variable a will only be accessed inside this f block, inside this if block. So now let me explain more about this var. So if I cut this if condition from here, and I'm going to create another function inside this example function with name example2. So inside this, I'm going to paste that if block again. So now this variable a is declared inside this example2, right? So now this var will look for its nearest function, which is this example2. So now this variable a will only be accessed inside this from this here to here. So now let me call this function and run this. So now if I run this, as you can see, we are getting a is not defined because this var is now accessible only inside this function. So if I try to console.log a here, now let me remove this from here. So now we are not going to get any error. We are getting 10 because this var will look for its nearest function, which is example2, and inside this example2 function, we are consoling the value of the a. So now this var a will accessible here. That's why it is displaying 10. So now let me explain more about if block. So let me remove this console. So inside this if block, I'm going to create another if block with condition true. So inside this, let me copy this from here and paste it here. So I'm going to change this var keyword to let. So now if I try to console.log a here, we're going to get an error because this let will look for its nearest block, which is this. So now this variable let, this variable a with let will only be accessed inside this, and we are consoling this outside this block. That's why it is throwing us an error. A is not defined. I hope you understand this. So var means it will be only accessible inside its function scope, and let means it only be accessed inside its nearest block. So I hope you will understand. So if the variable declared with var, that variable will only be accessed to its nearest function scope. So if you declare the variable with let, that variable will only be accessed inside its nearest block. So if I use var instead of let, what do you think the output will be? So try to pause the video and guess the output. So if I run this, as you can see, we are getting 10. It's because this var will look for its nearest function, which is this example2, right? So the example2 function block is from line number 2 to 9, and we are consoling the statement inside that example2 function block. So that's why it is giving the value as 10 for this a variable. So if you have any doubts regarding this video, please comment down, guys, so that I will try to explain it again.